Hello everyone, welcome back to Natalie's Makeup channel. If you've been here before, you know I do makeup tutorials. My last video was a giveaway. I would love to thank everyone so much for entering the giveaway. Congratulations to the 2 winners. If you're not familiar, go over to my Instagram at NataliesMakeup to check out who won. For today's tutorial, I will be showing you how to achieve this beautiful bright green smoky eye. Let's get started. First, using the NYX Prep Prime Spray Mist. On top of that, using something a little bit more sheer from Urban Decay. This one is a grip primer. It's really good for combination skin just to hold on the makeup really well. And because I do have a lot of products on my skin today, I want to let that sit for just a little bit so we're bouncing into eyebrows. And just to make application easier, I already have the brow gel on, so I'm going in with my eyebrow pencil. Today I'm using one of my favorites, the NYX Precision Eyebrow Pencil. So what I want to do here is, especially just to fill in the color, the trick is to go in with different angles of the pencil. So when I'm filling in under the eyebrow and carving out that base, I do want to use it horizontally, and then once I'm going in with the hair strokes, turn the pencil vertically and fill in very lightly. With a wax product like this, you want to make sure that you do have a light hand, and what's great about a pencil is that it usually does have a spoolie on the other end just to really disperse that product and make it look a lot more fluffy. Gives it more of a light shading technique. Using a Makeup Revolution concealer, take a little bit of that product with a small concealer brush, go under the arch and just carve out where you want to give a little bit more definition underneath the eyebrow. For a look like this, you want to make sure to carve out the brow just because we want to make it extremely defined. Once you carve out the brow, then you're going to go back in with the concealer you used for Makeup Revolution. I added a ColourPop concealer as well, just to brighten on the eye. And to really pack the pigmentation on to create a super light base before the eyeshadows, I tap this in with my finger and then go over with the brush. Once you pack that liquid onto your eye to create an even base, go over with a Cover FX Translucent Light Setting Powder. Specifically for this eyeshadow look, I wanted to go in with some greens, so I knew that I needed the pigmentation to be a little bit brighter. That's why I do use 2 concealers underneath before going in with the pigment. For the first greens, I'm using a NYX Ultimate Eyeshadow Palette. Using a large fluffy brush, focus this on the outer corner of the eye and swoop it into your crease towards the front of the brow. When working with greens, a trick I personally love to use is to make sure to use several different layers. That way it doesn't create any lines of demarcation and you're blending out really seamlessly. With that same brush, I'm going in with the Cosette Single Shadow. This one's a little bit darker, more green pigmented as opposed to a teal undertone. Focusing this one in the same area of the outer corner of the eye and pushing that onto the lid. With the super dark green eyeshadow from NYX Cosmetics, going in right on the outer corner and the lash line. I focused this one on the lash line, but starting from about 1/3 in of the eye and then pushing that out to create almost kind of a feline look. We don't want to make it too angled, so this specific pencil brush really creates a nice defined outer corner. And because we did use a black based green, going on top of that, I wanted to use something with the green and blue overtone. So we're going right on top of that just to blend out with a large NYX fluffy brush. And using that original fluffy brush with no extra product, just blending out those greens. Now focusing on the lid, I'm using one of my favorite Stila liquid glitter products. This specific one is a little bit more metallic-y as opposed to chunky glitter, so I like to pack it on with a brush, but my favorite form of application is to really blend out well with the finger. And I do notice that these ones dry quickly when you've set your eyes with powder, so make sure to work quickly with your finger and tap into the skin. Using that NYX palette once again to blend that black green in with something a little bit more metallic as well. This is just going to bring the outer corner of the eye and give it that ombre look into the middle center of the lid. And like I've mentioned before, greens and blues are definitely a lot trickier to work with just because the pigmentation sometimes can come off patchy. So make sure when using colors like this just to work very slowly. Look at the specific types of brushes you're using and make sure to work in layers. Once I finished adding the darker greens on the outer corner, I went back over with that original blending brush and I just blew out the greens a lot more on the top corners. And using the Bliss makeup remover wipes just to clean up any fallout that we've had. I am gonna dip into the Melt Smoke Sessions palette, but I wanted to show you guys, even though I love this palette, the quality of the shadows are not the best. They do have really great color payoff, but they are super, super messy. I think I've used this palette probably 1 or 2 times, and that's what happened to them. But using the lighter 2 green teal shades, I'm using those right in the inner corner. I felt like those were a little bit more blue than I would have liked them to be, so I went back in with Strobe Cosmetics single eyeshadow. This one's giving more of a lime tone. Go right on top in the inner corner. With the Lit Cosmetics Neon Pigment and the NYX Matte setting spray, I personally like to use a setting spray to adhere any specific pigments that I have. That way they're not going to change the pigmentation, it's not going to change the texture whatsoever, and it's going to adhere really well because the matte setting spray is going to help with the longevity. Using an extremely thin pencil brush, go ahead and apply that glitter to the inner corner. Once you finish with the glitter, use your favorite mascara to top your lashes. Here I'm only applying a few coats to my top lashes. And just to bring the eye look together, grabbing that Cosette single shadow once more to really focus that on the outer corner under the eye. Bring in those dark shadows that we had placed on the outer corner. Once we have our shadow done on our lower lashes, we're going to put on our false lashes. Today's pair is from Beauty Creations. Using the NYX just to refresh it and give it a little bit more hydration. And because I realized I did take off a little bit of my skincare using those Bliss makeup remover wipes, I did go back in with a Dermalogica under eye cream. Today I wanted to try out something a little bit different. So for foundation, I'm using a brand new Pacifica foundation. I'm mixing this with the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation. I will say, although I found it photographed really beautifully, it is super heavy in coverage. The Pacifica is a little bit heavier. The NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop will help with longevity. What I did like about this foundation as well, compared to different ones I've tried, for example, Urban Decay or Milani, those ones are sometimes thicker, sometimes thinner, but because they're more matte, they are harder to work with in terms of blending out into your skin and blend time. This one is a little bit thicker, so you do have a lot more playroom with it, and it blends into the skin really beautifully, and you do have a lot of time to work. I go in first with the large NYX brush, but just to focus in the smaller areas, I'm using a small Pixie eyeshadow brush just to blend in under the eye, around the eye, and on the forehead.
Life is happy, but it's so insane. We must merely make a start.
To add a little bit more coverage and blend everything out, go back on top with the NYX foundation brush. And just because I did want to give it more of a defined under eye look, I'm going in with the Morphe brush just to add on a light shade of concealer under the eye. And you'll see I do follow the eye shape just to blend out the concealer, make the green look really defined. Now that we have our base done with liquids, go on top with the translucent setting powder. I'm using the Cover FX to set under the eye and any places where I tend to get a little bit more oily. It's been super hot, so to set with a translucent setting powder, I personally recommend something that's really densely packed so it packs on the powder really well. It's going to help with longevity, make sure that we're not creasing or separating throughout the day. And on top of that loose powder, of course, my go-to IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores. Press that, focusing in the T-zone anywhere you want to kill shine. And because we added translucent powder under the eye, to blend that out and diffuse the green a little bit more, go back in with the eyeshadow brush we used first just to blend out the green. Finishing off mascara, apply to your bottom lashes. And just to add a little bit more dimension, I did find a green glitter gel that I wanted to add to make it a little bit more neon and pull the top look from the eye down to the inner corner and really make it cohesive with the bottom look. And as you can see, I'm using an extremely tiny pencil brush for this. This just makes sure that I'm adding the glitters to the specific areas of the eye, especially when working with a loose glitter. I want to make sure that it's sticking just to the inner corner and we don't make a huge mess and there's not a ton of fallout. Once we have the glitter gel on, I'm using that same pencil brush just to blend the glitter gel in with the Stila liquid glitter we have in the middle. So this is going to bring the glitter gel in with the pigment and the Stila liquid. Once I felt like I was finally done with eyes, I'm using the Bare Minerals Warmth Bronzer just to chisel out the contours of the face. This is one of my go-to bronzers. I will say though, compared to other ones I've used, it does come off a lot more of like a warmth tan undertone as opposed to having the cool depth. Once I had the bronzer contour on, I'm using a circular fluffy brush just to apply this highlighting powder. This one has a little bit of highlighter, blush, and contour all in one, so I'm focusing that on top of the apples of the cheeks. And using the Dose of Colors Treasure palette with the lightest brown shade, I'm just going to go ahead and use a flat contour brush to contour my nose. And to chisel the cheeks out just a little bit more, go in with the Cover FX translucent powder right underneath. This will give the appearance of a little bit more depth. Using that same Bare Minerals powder, I moved on to a different brush just because I didn't want it to be so concentrated in pigment, but I'm using that to blend right under the chin. For lips, I'm using my go-to NYX Cosmetics lip pencil. This one is a Nude Truffle, one of my go-tos. It outlines the lips beautifully. It has a little bit of a burnt brown tone to it. Go ahead and outline the lips. I'm filling in a little bit more on the top, kind of taking away from the Cupid's bow. Once that was set, I went in on top with a Stila liquid lip. This one is matte and it's just a few shades lighter than Nude Truffle. And I wanted to diffuse those two together, so I just used a flat eyeshadow brush. I felt like my cheeks did need a little bit more of a peach glow, so I went in with the NYX Away We Glow powder right onto the apples. and just setting everything back in because we did use quite a few powders. I'm going in with the NYX Refresh Mist and then tapping in with the NYX foundation brush. And this is the finished look. Thank you so much everyone for watching today's tutorial. I wanted to give you something really bright and fun for summer. If there's any specific makeup looks you'd like to see, don't forget to drop a comment down below. I always love reading your suggestions. As always, if you want to see more from me and love today's tutorial, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me over at NataliesMakeup on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching.